in the black jersey of leader of the points competition is Peter Sagan. Matthias Frank has a very handy 6-minute lead in the best Swiss rider competition. It's a pistol shot start for the riders as they head out of Locarno. Head on their way for 166.7 kilometers of racing today. Decent sunshine, a little bit overcast through the day, so not particularly hot by the standards of this week already. The weather's conditions have been pretty good. A little bit of rain yesterday towards the conclusion of yesterday's stage, but it didn't have any effect on the riders, any significant effect. And here we have the breakaway group up front. And it looks as if, well, we had a group of 10 up front. Jan Bakeland's on the front here of this group. Down towards the back, Simone Petilli of the United Arab Emirates squad, and it took a long while for the breakaway group to establish itself, over 50 kilometers. It was a lightning quick start to the stage for the second day in succession. We're going to scroll through the names there. Bakelands, as I've said, Michael Woods is there for Cannondale, Mamakin, Bert de Klerk and Marcinski for Lotto Soudal. Carlos Verona, Philip Diagnan, André Schink and Simone Petilli have made it into this important group. This is Carlos Verona on the front, 24-year-old from Spain, looking comfortable in the group. And these riders have, well, they're hanging on to a lead of just over 2 minutes. It took such a long time for the group to establish itself out front. They did manage to crest the climb of San Bernardino in control of affairs. Jan Bakeland's first over the climb on that occasion. The AG Tour Le Mondial man will be one of the favourites, I think, should riders from the breakaway group survive to take the honours. Well, who would bet against Bakeland? He's certainly a very useful foil for the AG Tour Le Mondial squad to have to the fore, for Domenico Pozzovivo in particular, and of course Matthias Frank as well. Those riders inside the top 6, and Bakeland's a very useful man to have up front. But it is a shrinking advantage, and it's Team BMC on the front, and I suspect that Jan Bakeland, who sits just 2 minutes and 21 seconds in arrears, the best placed of the riders who've gone in the breakaway today, he could well be a little bit of a threat in the BMC squad of this man, Damiano Caruso, the overall leader of Tour de Suisse. They need to pay attention and make sure they don't let him too far away and not too far out of sight. So Caruso looking calm, impassive, comfortable at the moment. He's got a lot of work to do before they get to the summit of the Albula Pass, and then the race down the other side into the finish at La Punt. It's a significantly reduced group. We've had some high-profile riders who've failed to finish today, one or two that have failed to start. Tom Dumoulin has decided to call enough, clearly not on absolutely top form, and hasn't fully recovered from his extreme and incredible and wonderful exertions in the Giro d'Italia just a few weeks ago. Alongside me once more, Brian Smith has been surveying the scene and watching the action. And Brian, it's been pretty hectic action already today. Absolutely flat chat from the breakaway group, and it took a long time for them to get established.
Yeah, it did. It was on the San Bernardino Pass that the breakaway actually formed, and they went over the top of that climb with roughly about 2 minutes advantage, and it's been pegged about that. We're on the kind of lower slopes, or heading towards the lower slopes. It's actually categorised at just over 17 kilometres, but in fact the climb of the Albula Pass is in fact 29 kilometres in length, 4.5% average, 11.2% in the maximum steepness. So it goes up levels, go up again, up and up and up, but it's a short, sharp descent to the finishing line, 9.3 kilometres from the top of the climb to the finishing line. But we've got around about 60, 70 riders in the main yellow jersey group. Many riders already abandoned. You see Daniel Wass already being involved with a crash already today. So a lot of action in this race, but there's still a lot of action still to come.
Well, it's been a tough day out already for Daniel Wass, but he's made of he's teak tough, isn't he? He's got plenty of bandages, and that's an impressive looking and pretty sore looking slash across his back, isn't it? It's going to be a little bit tender this evening. Massage will be a little bit more careful, I think. But Daniel Oss will keep soldiering on as best he can, because the BMC squad have come to race, they've come to win. And who would bet against it? So there's confirmation of the GPM points, the Grand Prix Montagne, the King of the Mountains points at the top of the OR category climb of San Bernardino, with Jan Bakelants, Belgium, and AG Tour Le Mondial in the brown shorts here, white and blue jersey, taking the points ahead of Simone Petilli, André Sink, Bart de Klerk and Thomas Marczynski. And all of those riders forcing their way into contention in the mountains competition. If they survive through to the finish line, they will be in the lead of the competition at the end of today. Also be in contention for honours, and there can be no hanging about here. I think this breakaway group realised that they've been given very little rope, and this gap being managed well, just a smidgen over 2 minutes. It's crouched low over the bars. Michael Woods, well, Michael Woods posted his fastest speed on the descent data yesterday of 111 kilometres, and that looked pretty good until we saw Philippe Gilbert posted his data, 119 kilometres reached. And what was significant, I think, for Michael Wood's data was that he sat at over 90 kilometres an hour for over 5 minutes in yesterday's stage. So we're going at a pretty hectic rate on those descents. A pretty hectic rate on this one as well at the moment. So no trouble for the breakaway group on stage 6 of Tour de Suisse 2017. Locarno to La Punt, 10 riders clear of the peloton. Took them a long way to establish their advantage, and that means that we've had a very, very fast beginning to the stage, and they're well ahead of the fastest schedule at the moment. I think they're going to have to keep pressing on all the way to the finish line if they're going to hang on to that situation. Michael Woods in here for Team Cannondale. Great work in Giro d'Italia a little while ago. Just in front of him, Carlos Verona of Team Orica the Moby Star squad are also represented by Antonio Pedrero, just in front of Woods. Verona's just in the middle of that group. Well, a long way to go to the finish, 25 miles in old money, about 40 kilometres of racing on stage 6 of Tour de Suisse. And is there any chance that this group of 10 can possibly hang on clear of the bunch?
There is a possibility. It really depends on who wants to get involved from the peloton behind. This is a long, long climb, and we've just kind of started the kind of lower slopes. As I said, it's in the race manual. It's about 17 kilometres length, but the actual length of this climb is 29 kilometres, 9.3 from the top. So this rider here was the best placed in the general classification, or is the best placed in general classification, 2:21. He did hold on to the virtual race lead, but as the gap has come down to 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Of these riders, you've got to remember Bakelants, and I think his best day in the bike came in 2013 when he won that stage of the Tour de France, and he actually took the yellow jersey in that stage. So he's a very competent rider. But when you look at the riders that are in this front group of 10 riders, you've got Michael Woods, who was 38th in the recent Giro d'Italia, Mamikin 87th in the Giro d'Italia, riding for Zakharin, Marczynski 47th in the Giro, Verona 57th in the Giro, and 26th in the Giro for Petilli. So in this breakaway, you've got some riders coming out the back of the Giro d'Italia, and they've got some strong legs. Okay, they never won the Giro d'Italia and put themselves through the rigours that Tom Dumoulin has done, and then afterwards with the media they had to do afterwards. But I think this is a strong breakaway. You've obviously had to be strong to get in it. The best placed is Bakelants, but Philip Daignan as well, a rider who's just come out the Giro d'Italia, 37th overall. So maybe more than half of this breakaway have already come out the Giro d'Italia, strong legs. And I know they've only got 2 minutes advantage, but it's going to take a strong effort to bring them back.
They're going to have to push, and the bunch are pushing on as well. They might. Is it a question of just controlling the gap to Bakelants, ensuring that he's not a threat for overall, and then not really pushing any harder than that?
That's it. They know that the gap goes up to 3 minutes, then the peloton will chase harder. So they're sitting just over 2 minutes. BMC are happy with this, and the group of 10 in front are controlling the pace of the race at the moment. They're not going into the reds, and I think in this this climb, the front group of 10 do have an opportunity of, not all of them, but some of them maybe battling it out for the stage win.
A couple of high-profile departures from the fray today. The Trek Segafredo squad have lost 2 riders, failing to finish, unfortunately. Harrison Pantano, he's been struggling with stomach problems all week, and well, no surprise that unfortunately he's had to pack the race. Harrison Pantano, stage winner 12 months ago. No repeat victory for him, but well, he'll try and recover and come back fighting again. Matthias Brendle, the big Austrian, that'll be a disappointment to Austrian fans as we prepare to head into Austria tomorrow to race up the Tiefenbach Glacier, the highest ever summit finish in the history of Tour de Suisse, possibly in the history of any major stage race of significance. So no Matthias Brendle for the fans to look for tomorrow. It wouldn't have been his stage anyway. He's a big man, but that's big strength and big legs and big watts that have been lost by the Trek Segafredo squad. The bunch stretched thin, the gap now just a smidgen under 2 minutes. And the race to La Punt on stage 6 of Tour de Suisse. 10 riders up front, keeping the bunch honest, and Team BMC on the front, monitoring affairs, controlling as they have done for the last 2 days. Indeed, much of the week they've controlled this yellow jersey, and now it's on the shoulders of Damiano Caruso, the young Italian. He's making a name for himself this week. Do you think he has the... He looked very strong, didn't he, on the first day, but maybe not quite as strong as a couple of the other contenders. I'm thinking of, well, perhaps specifically Kruijswijk and Simon Spieler.
Well, when you look at the top 10 and potential time trial specialists, I can't see many. I don't think there's a lot between their abilities to time trial. So you have to look at the possibilities of Caruso possibly winning this race, and every second is going to count. He took a second yesterday, sitting 16 seconds in front of Steven Kruijswijk. Okay, this last time trial is a fairly lengthy one at that, and the 28.6 kilometre time trial will throw up some time gaps. But I don't think Caruso has to go chasing the race at the moment. If he can survive with the other riders, the likes of Kruijswijk, Possevivo, Spilak, Marcelin, if he can survive with these sort of riders towards the finish here and maybe try and pick up some bonus seconds again tomorrow, survive tomorrow, and then put it down to the time trial. But I think it's going to take a huge effort from some riders just outside the top 10 to actually come in. This is a long climb. Okay, there's some maximum gradients, about 11%, but it's the length of the climb more than the severity of the climb, and we'll have to wait and see how this develops. But BMC are the team controlling things, but it's really the 10 riders in front are controlling the pace of this. They know they can't go much over this kind of 2.5 minutes because of Bakeland's was virtual yellow on the roads, so they're just kind of saving the powder for the hardest parts of this climb.
So Peter Sagan is in the cars at the moment, the leader of the points classification. He's already won the points classification 4 times in his career, 14 stage victories. That run began back in 2011 on stage 3. He finished ahead of Damiano Cunego. Himself and the Little Prince had a bit of a gap on the rest of the field, slightly different character to most of his stage victories. As in de Grindelwald, and he absolutely adores this race. 14 stage wins in Tour de Suisse and 4 points jersey classifications. 7 stage victories in Tour de France, 16 stage victories in Tour of California. Those are the races that he has shone, and he's shone so many, hasn't he? Still hard to believe that Peter Sagan is just 27 years of age, and it was like a bullet from a gun, wasn't he, in that sprint yesterday? Beautifully timed.
Yeah, he reacted very quickly, as most sprinters do. He came from behind and he came with speed, and the minute he went, that was it, over for everybody else. When you do 76 kilometers an hour, over 1400 watts, there's nobody else going to come back to you, and the duties have changed. Yesterday it was all in for Sagan. Today he's on bottle duty, and he's going to service the riders in his team. But you know, when we look at this breakaway of 10 riders, 6 of these riders have come out the Giro d'Italia. It's taken them a few days to get into the rhythm of things and into the rhythm of you know, back into the racing rhythm here in the Tour de Suisse. Then we've got Bakelans, already mentioned, the best place in the general classification. Bart de Klerk, former winner of a stage of the Giro d'Italia for Lotto Soudal. And then we've got an interesting one, I think, André Sink from Bahrain Merida, the 26-year-old Czech rider. He was 9th in the Ruta del Sol this year. That's the rider with the blue shorts, the red top and the golden helmet, just behind Bakelans for AG2R, just about to come and do his turn at the front. He's an interesting character, mountain biker, cross-country mountain biker at the 2012 Olympics, where he finished 14th. So he's come from mountain biking background into a road background. Started the year off, this is him here, Sink, the Czech rider, started the year with a good top 10 and a good race, Ruta del Sol. Find himself riding these road events, and yeah, he seems to be finding his feet, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time to swap disciplines in cycling.
Yeah, he's one for the future, isn't he? And a fine 18th place finish in Strade Bianche, I think, was another one to pick out that looked good as well. So,
well, if any race it suited him, it would have been that race.
Yeah, the mountain biker, yeah, on the white roads. Oh, we're not quite going over the top of that peak, but almost as high. Some wonderful scenes for the riders. Bakelans trailing now to the back of the group. Bakelans has to be one of the favourites in this group if they do hang on.
Well, looking at paper, he's the best placed. So you think that you know, that's the start of the climb there, as we've just seen there. But yeah, it's he is the best placed. Whether he's the strongest, you never know, because I think when you look at Philip Daignan, the way he finished the Giro d'Italia as well, should be within a chance, just finding his legs as well. And then Mamikin, another good rider, he's had to sacrifice his chances in the Giro d'Italia for Zakarin as well, a talented bike rider, 24th in the Vuelta last year. Just come out the Giro in 87th place, as I said, but most of that was helping his team leader. And then when we look at Sink, you never know, looks good. Carlos Verona, very good rider, 57th out the Giro d'Italia, 8th in Catalonia this year. So there's some quality bike riders in that group of 10, and certainly some of them would be strong, but I think it's an opportunity for Philip Daignan, maybe one of the oldest riders in the breakaway, together with Marcinski for Lotto Soudal. But Philip Daignan, he's been second in the stage of the Tour de Suisse way back in 2014.
Yeah, he was second.
It's about time he had to win.
He was second the day that Larry Warbasse was third, and maybe he's seen Larry Warbasse has got his victories, broken his duck, and perhaps Philip Daignan thinks that'll be a great opportunity. He's number 1, 2, 3 there, the Sky Man, the black jersey, blue stripe in the middle of the picture, former 9th overall and stage winner in the Vuelta a España back in 2009 from Letterkenny and County Donegal. He's yeah, switched roles really in the Giro, didn't he? In the last week and a half, there was a big revolution in what happened in the Sky Camp with that crash for Geraint Thomas. Bit of a change in how things worked, and that's the super extraordinary Landwasser Viaduct. 6 arches, built in 1902 by Loren Zerleder. Oh, great, they got a train going across it as well. What a perfect piece of timing.
Well, we are in Switzerland.
Yeah, trains run like clockwork, absolutely. First sprint of the day, of little consequence, but we'll rack up the points here as well. Bart de Klerk ahead of André Sink and Michael Woods. Duly noted. But these riders have bigger fish to fry, certainly other ones. Bart de Klerk, 30-year-old Belgian for the Lotto Soudal squad, rolling to the front. They're still working well. The gradient is starting to grip, but still significant pace in both the peloton and the group behind. And now it's coming down, 1 minute and 52 seconds. I mean, it's a slightly different situation. Normally you would say that the break need a really big lead going into that finishing hill, but because there's such strength in the breakaway, there's so many riders, and maybe not quite as many riders behind to do the chasing. Do they need as much of a lead, or are they going to have to expand their advantage before they get really into the hill proper?
Well, all BMC are doing is just kind of limiting things. Hopefully the race will take care of itself, and you know, the riders from the breakaway, the gap will come back a little bit. With 31.5 kilometres to go, the gradient is only between kind of 1.5%, 2.2%, so it's going up ever so slowly. But with about 28 kilometres to go, that's where we get the steepest parts of this climb. So we're going to be hitting that in the next you know, 3 to 4 kilometres, the 11 percenters, and that will mean that we may see some action in the front of the race. Maybe some of the group of 10 have decided that you know, they want to try and go for the stage. They don't want to be in this group, because backlands is the danger, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. So that's why BMC having to control things. But it's going to be a very difficult climb the further we get up. But BMC with Elminger and Kung at the front of the peloton are controlling things. As we're starting to see a couple of umbrellas going up at the finishing line. This is a very tricky descent, 9.3 kilometres from the top of this Abula Pass. So let's hope that it doesn't come too much.
Yeah, big heavy droplets falling from the sky on the large and expanding crowd here at the finish line at La Punt. The rain falls heavy in these valleys, I can tell you. Martin Elminger is pretty much shot. He did a great job, didn't he? Because he actually did a big turn just as we came on air, and then pulled off to the side, had a bit of word with the team car, bit of a chat with his team leader, and then came back for another turn. Dignan on the front of the breakaway group, now down to 1.5 minutes. So that big effort from Martin Elminger certainly had an impact on the gap that the leaders have at the moment. You could tell that riders were suffering in the bunch. To see Peter Weening, who might have been a bit of a favourite if he'd made it into the breakaway today from the Team Rompot squad, trailing along at the back of the bunch and not really able to, well, perhaps he is able to move up, but I don't think too many riders are. Stefan Krosvik, we pick out number 161, sitting second overall. And after, well, what do we say about his Giro d'Italia performance? Would he have been satisfied with it, or a little bit disappointed after going so close 12 months ago?
I think very disappointed, but when we look at the teams that have missed out in the breakaway, we've got 9 teams represented. Astana maybe suffering a little bit because you know, obviously Lopez has had that crash out yesterday, so you know they've possibly got Bilbao that can climb well. And then we've look at BMC, we've got the race leader controlling things, Bora, Hansgrohe, Sagan's win yesterday. They've got Patrick Conrad, who they want to keep up there in the overall. Team Dimension Data, maybe looking at a good overall place with Kudus. Française de Jeu, another team that missed out in the breakaway, but I don't know if Steve Morabito, how his form is. He was lacking a little bit, maybe went into that stage a little bit more confident a couple of days ago, but was found a little wanting. And when you look down, Quick Step suffering a little bit, and you know, I don't think David Diddle Cruz tried to get in the breakaway earlier on today and failed. I don't think, apart from, you know, Gilbert, Trentin, Stibar, I don't think anybody can get up this climb, and maybe Joe for the stage. Then we get Team Sunweb, who have lost 2 riders, so one never started, Tom Dumoulin, and Priedler hasn't finished. And then same for Trek Segafredo, they've lost their climber Pantano. And Lotto NL Jumbo looking after Kreuzvik. So who are going to come up and chase? Apart from the second division teams, I can't really see anybody wanting to help BMC bring this back. So BMC still have to control things. So we could see a race within a race. I know it's only 90 seconds from the front of the race to the peloton. I still believe that there's an opportunity for some of these breakaway riders to come to the end.
Let's not rule it out at the moment. Domenico Pozzovivo has work to do. He's nestling in the middle of the peloton, getting as much shelter as he can of anything moving over to the right. Is he going to drop back towards the back of affairs for a little while? But Domenico Pozzovivo, handily placed at the moment, third overall, 25 seconds in arrears in the pocket rocket from Italy. And AG Tuorlo Mondial has a man in the breakaway up front, and he also has Matthias Frank collecting bottles, 6th overall, 34 seconds back, and in the red jersey of leader of the Swiss rider classification. So Frank actually towards the front of the bunch at the moment. Stefan Kung is pulled off the front. What's the... Just going to say hello to some friends, or I suspect he may know that person quite well.
I think being a Swiss rider, he might have some friends in this area. Maybe that was his girlfriend giving him a special message in a bottle.
Inside 30 kilometres to go on Tour de Suisse, stage 6. The 10 riders out front continue to set a tempo that is putting it up to the riders in the bunch behind. Taking a well-earned drink on the front is Philip Dijkman of Team Sky. Young rider Simone Petilli from the United Arab Emirates just working his way to the front. He's going to take over now from Jan Bakelants, diminutive Belgian climber, an all-rounder. Quite total accord in the group there, and Dijkman seems keen to press on, doesn't he? So he takes his turn once more, knits the line back together again, and anyone who misses a turn, well, they're just going to keep pressing on as best they can, and as the gradient grips, they'll be left to their own devices. Team BMC still on their own. Damiano Caruso still sitting and waiting for the inevitable scrap to come. Simon Spilak looked particularly strong. Winner of this race 2 years ago. Looked great in the mountain climb to Villar 2 days ago.
He did, but like many others, the kind of legs fell off a little bit 3/4 of the way up the climb. And yeah, expecting maybe a little bit more from him today. He needs to try and gain some time, and you know, with these drops of rain here at the finish, it's going to make this finish a little bit more difficult, and we'll have to can wait to see how the weather develops, because 1 minute and 23 seconds is a great springboard for the likes of Pozzovivo. I think that'll be in the foremost mind of AG2R. Pozzovivo did look good. He was on the attack a couple of days ago. If Pozzovivo nipped across to this group, he's got a very strong rider with Jan Bakelants to help him out. Pozzovivo, not the best time trialist, and so you have to look at the possibilities of AG2R winning the Tour de Suisse, and I think that's a tactic they're looking at for sure today. I'm not thinking of Bakelants. He's in this breakaway. He's got a very good chance of possibly trying to win the stage. He looks strong enough. I think they've got a two-pronged attack here of maybe if Pozzovivo feels good, if he can start attacking on this climb and come across to the likes of Bakelants, then he's got some help on the descent and help to try and put some time into the other overall contenders.
So one of the attacks coming from the... Well, here we have the official start of the King of the Mountains. Tell you what, though, they've been on the climb for a while now. The gradient has already been testing their legs and reducing their energy levels.
Yeah, they're starting at the probably the hardest part of the climb. It does kick up to between 10 and 11%. Then it levels for a period of time for about, I would say, about 4 kilometres, and then it averages between 2 and kind of 4%. And then it starts to kind of kick up a little bit towards the summit. But they've already been climbing, I reckon, for about 10 kilometres already, albeit between 2 and 2.5%.
There goes Stefan Kung, he's done his work. It was great work indeed, former leader of this race. And Dennis as well. So BMC have had a pretty good week, haven't they? They've had a yellow jersey on the shoulders of 3 riders, and one is a genuine contender. Well, Dennis, I think, went into this race with certainly keen to test his possibilities for the general classification, but unfortunately coming to grief with a really badly timed crash which eliminated him from the action. No harm not done on that occasion, but just lost several minutes on the second day. So no luck from that occasion, but still plenty for the BMC squad to fight for. Greg van Avermaet in position, second of the BMC riders as well. A real established star of that squad who finds himself on duty now for Damiano Caruso. They have a very strong lineup. What's going to happen with the BMC squad? What's going to happen up front is they're starting to get a little bit frisky. This is Petili who's trying his luck. And alive to the danger is Marcinski, the Polish rider from Team Lotto Soudal. He's going to close this one down. Bakelants is just going to try and ride himself back up. So Petili is showing the legs that you mentioned, the strength that he has taken from Giro d'Italia. Marcinski, by contrast, is regretting, I think, his effort to try and close that one down.
Yeah, Petili, 26th in the recent Giro d'Italia, the 24-year-old Italian. And this is the hardest part of this climb. There's some difficult bits of the climb to come up, but it does really kind of kick up in the official start of this climb. Bakelant's going with him. Michael Woods, again, another rider that really impressed in the Tour de France, the Giro d'Italia, coming out in 38th position, 12th earlier on in the Pays Basque, and 9th in the Liège, Bastogne-Liège. But just as we thought, come on to the kind of harder slopes of this climb, we're starting to see some action in the group of 10 original breakaway riders.
Was 10, now it's 3 with a group of 4 or 5 trying to chase as Jan Bakelants takes it up on the front, moves across, makes way for the green jersey of Michael Woods. And Petili still in there at the moment. It's Philip Duignan of Team Sky that is just trying to peg this advantage of this group, and Woods steps it up, and now Petili, who kicked this off, is struggling to maintain the pace, so that might have been a little bit of impetuosity by the young Italian rider, who finds himself having to make a big effort to get back in the wheel, and the gradient really gripping here as this Warbasse now starting to struggle.
Oh, he's going off the front.
Yeah, he's attacked, yeah. Well, he's full of fight, amazing. He's been reborn, I think you might say, by that wonderful victory a couple of days ago to Villar, and Larry Warbasse discovering what he's got, and now he's decided to attack the bunch. Bit of a surprise that he's gone this early in the climb from the main group behind.
Yeah, I think so. This is very early, looking to see who's trying to come across to him now. Is this Theo Gegenhardt? So Theo Gegenhardt going across there, he's sitting in the top 10 overall. So he's a rider that I don't think anybody will want to go up the roads. Quality under 23 rider, but BMC setting tempo, but we're starting to see some action as we suspected on this climb, but it's come very early.
So Larry Warbasse of the Aqua Blue Sport Squad has got there's Peter Sagan going out the back. We saw him on bottle duty a little while ago. So the man leading the points competition, this was never a big appointment for him. He'll look towards Saturday in the circuit race. It's got a lot of climbs on it, but should be one, could be one for the sprinters, maybe the breakaway group. Meanwhile, these 2 riders have stepped off the front of the group, the main group, but that main group is being whittled down, and whittled down fast. And look at Larry Warbasse. He's coming to this stage with absolutely massive form and is pressing on. He's got Theo Gegenhardt sitting 10th overall, and Gegenhardt's position overall could well mean that he's a little bit of a threat, and those riders in the bunch, what's left of it anyway, not too keen about that. Duignan has almost but not quite closed the gap, and a couple of riders have managed to clip across, so it's all changing at the front as well. Petili now finds himself distanced, and the riders, the chase group indeed, Verona is trying to close it up. Marcinski has, I think, disappeared almost completely. And you see Jan Bakelants and Michael Woods on the front of this race. A minute back to the yellow jersey is Damiano Caruso. So Marcinski now is picked up, rider from the initial group of 10 is picked up by Larry Warbasse and Theo Gegenhardt. And they're managing this advantage. Warbasse showing the pain though. He's having to pull big faces and make a big effort. Gegenhardt looks altogether easier, doesn't he? And look at Woods starting to put some distance into Bakelants now. And it won't be long, I think, before the riders from that chase group are going to get involved. But will Woods have enough to hang on?
That's the thing. He's already shown he's climbing talent, and I think maybe a little bit too early. But the other side of the coin is he cannot wait. He's only got just over 1 minute, so he doesn't really want to wait, and he wants to keep the advantage. First and foremost, he wants to try and think of a stage win. The top of the climb comes with just over 9 kilometres to go, so he's got a long way to go. But I think with Philip Dagenham now struggling a little bit, you may see him wait up a little bit for Theo Gegenhardt.
Well, that'd be a good play from Team Sky, wouldn't it? Philippe Gilbert has done what he can for Team Quickstep today. Already a stage winner this week, the Belgian national road race champion. Will fight on through the week, but it's not going to be his day. Theo Gegenhardt now is putting distance into Larry Warbasse. Warbasse not able to follow the pace of the young East Londoner. He's holding off the peloton, but is this a little bit impetuous? Is he going too early? Will Dagenham fall back from so many tactical imponderables? And now Michael Woods, the 30-year-old Canadian who came to cycling late from a running career. And what a talent he is! What a find he is for cycling.
It was actually Gordon Fraser for the Sibber team that actually gave me a phone a couple of years ago, tipping this rider for big things. Gordon Fraser. Gord Fraser, they call him, from Canada, former Motorola rider, kept in touch with him, and he said that Jonathan Waters was looking at him, but yeah, certainly a talented bike rider. I think he first came to prominence when he won the stage of the Tour of Utah, I think it was a few years ago, but rode last year, found his way, and has rode terrifically this year and getting stronger and stronger. But I think he's probably better kind of waiting up a little bit. Still a long way to go in this climb. I know he's new to cycling, and sometimes you get this, okay, he's 30 years old, but he's still new to cycling, and he still has to be kind of told what to do. So, and I think his team just had to settle him down a little bit, possibly wait for Sink, because Sink looks as if he's finding his legs a little bit in this climb.
Yeah, timing it nicely and pushing on. As indeed.
Hurt.
Yeah, and look at that, Hurt has caught Gegenhardt, and Gegenhardt is just moving across. Surprised a little bit by the pace of the CCC Sprandi Polkavitsa rider. Jan Hert putting the hurt on Theo Gegenhardt, and the bunch won't be too far behind. Michael Woods up front. Is that gap diminishing? Powerful effort here from Hert. Gegenhardt looking good too, isn't he? Real star of the Hammer Series for Team Sky. They were the overall winners of the inaugural Hammer Series a week ago. Also performed with distinction in the Tour of California lately. A bunch behind still, it is the BMC squad. They've still got enough numbers in there. Caruso are well to the fore. Not much more than 20 riders, maybe 25, still involved in the main GC fight. Caruso out of the saddle. Kruijswijk's never far away. Thijs Frank well to the fore as well. Woods, the 30-year-old, takes the second sprint of the day. Sprint being something of a misnomer, the intermediate sprint. Now gets a brief respite. Does he think about waiting for young Andre Sink?
I think he has to. I think it would be in his best interest. Two are better than one, especially in the easier part. For the next kind of 4 kilometres, it's between kind of 2 and 4%. So it's still an opportunity for these riders to come back as well. We've got De Klerk, Bacalans, Pedrero, Verona, and at the back Petilli. So 5 riders. So Michael Woods, the Canadian for Cannondale, would be better probably just kind of easing off a little bit, allowing Sink to come back up and they can combine together. It's still a long way to go in this climb, as we said. Just over 9 kilometres descent, so still a long way to go with a 23.4.
He's a real all-rounder, hasn't quite discovered exactly what he can be as a cyclist. He's still exploring the possibilities. He's exploring the possibility of winning a stage of Tour de Suisse. And Michael Woods, second overall and a stage winner in the Larry Miller Tour of Utah in 2015. 9th in Liège-Bastogne-Liège this year, really tells you what a quality climber he is. 12th overall in the Vuelta Pevasco as well. Goes well across the climbs. And a real all-rounder. And Michael Woods pressing on across the cobbles. His advantage now out to 1 minute and 46 seconds. Gone in the right direction.
It just goes to show you, Declan, that they were just kind of holding out there over 2 minutes. They knew if they pushed the advantage up, the peloton would ride somewhat faster. So it was good experience in that front group. And now with Greg Van Avermaet, the Olympic champion, just setting tempo in the front for his BMC leader Caruso. They have got 4 riders left, and then when we get a little bit further down, you see obviously Matthias Frank. But what are they thinking? I have to understand what are they thinking in AG2R, because they've got Backlands in front. They've got Possavivo there, who looked in good form a couple of days ago as well. They've got Matthias Frank up there in the general classification. So it'll be interesting to see what their tactic is.
So how will AG2R Le Mondial play it? At the moment, BMC certainly have riders up there.
Well, I think that they have to play a card. Either Frank has to try and go in the attack, Possavivo has to go in the, they cannot both sit there. The thing is, when you've got 2 riders up there in the overall classification, and we look at that overall classification, Possavivo is sitting at 25 seconds, Matthias Frank is sitting at 34 seconds, so there's an opportunity for AG2R to play a couple of cards here, and I don't think Caruso can follow both of them.
Well, as you speculated, Philip Duignan has dropped back and he's picked up Teo Geoghegan Hart, and he's trying to press on and drag them a little bit further away from the yellow jersey group of Damiano Caruso. Duignan and Teo Geoghegan Hart, Jan Hert for company as well. And here's the scrabbling group of what's left of the main bunch. Kaczmarek from CCC Sprande Polkowice sitting at the back here. Peo Bilbao from Team Astana. Hugo Uhl, the Canadian for AG2R Le Mondial. And there's the Piz Ella. It's a big mountain. They do like a big mountain around here. Never short of them, are they? We're in Graubünden, the biggest canton in Switzerland. The center of a nature park, Park Ella, which this mountain towers over. (3,339 meters at its summit point. Quite as high for Michael Woods today. Still, it's going to feel like a bit of a workout. 1 minute and 37 seconds, so he's lost a little bit, but not a whole lot. Now on the big ring, but up towards the top of the block for Michael Woods as he sets that relentless tempo. What's the gap to the riders that are chasing behind? Just what sort of an advantage has Teo Geoghegan Hart managed to eke out over the yellow jersey group as well? Now 39 seconds they're showing. 1:13 back to the group of Teo Geoghegan Hart, which is significant. So it's about 24 seconds he's gained on the yellow jersey group. Can he hang on to that? Can he extend it? Long way to go. Jan Bakelants looks back with urgency. Simone Petilli as well. Verona in here, and Pedrero even for the Movistar squad, as Duignan continues to set that tempo. While he has the energy, he's going to just put his shoulder to the wheel and push as hard as he possibly can to try and give Teo Geoghegan Hart as much respite as he possibly can. This is a superb job being done by Woods at the moment.
Yeah, it is. He's got the service car behind, so he's actually pushing out the advantage to Sink. I believe that maybe a couple of kilometres ago he should have possibly waited for this man, and they could have combined a little bit together, and then he could have gone on a wee bit more, because by riding into the wind from this far out, I know you're feeling good, but still a long way to go. These 5 riders, and I'm just thinking when the AG2R think of trying to do something, they have got Bakelants here. He is the best placed of the original 10 riders at 2 minutes and 21 seconds, but I don't think he's got the strength to maybe bring back the 2 riders in front of Sink and Woods. So I think maybe either Matthias Frank or Possavivo, they go on the attack in this climb and do what Duignan has done, drop back, Backlands drop backs and helps, and they go over the top together. So we're still going to see some tactics from some of the other teams in the general classification play out in the slopes of the Abula Pass.
Just over 20 kilometres to go on stage 6 of Tour de Suisse. It's the first of 2 mountain stages in a row. It's the second mountain stage in this race. coming on the back of Villar a couple of days ago. And there's the yellow jersey group led by the BMC squad. Greg van Avermaet, the Olympic champion, is pushing hard to try and close down the gap of 1 minute and 37 seconds to Michael Woods out front for Cannondale Drapac, the singleton rider from the initial group of 10. He's got some of his erstwhile breakaway companions chasing at 45 seconds. And in a group clear of the yellow jersey at the moment is Theo Geoghegan Hart. He's just managed to stretch his advantage to, what, 27 seconds over the group of Damiano Caruso. So trying to move a little bit up general classification is the man sitting 10th overall at the moment. Caruso at the moment, though, looks relatively comfortable in there, and BMC still have numbers.
They're just looking at the Cannondale car going up, and this will be interesting to see once they get up there what they tell Michael Woods to do, because Sink is not that far behind. So it's okay trying to talk on the radio. Sometimes the radio works, sometimes it doesn't, and in the mountains, and the Cannondale car going up, and they'll be able to give Rusty Woods the best help from the car.
Well, he's still got a few sprockets to spare, so clearly still full of fight and pressing on his advantage. I tell you what, he's got almost 11 kilometers to go still to the top of this climb. It really is a monster.
It is, and the rain is getting a little bit heavier towards the top, although it's dry on the climb, but the other side of the climb, it's the descent I'm more worried about. We've already seen a couple of riders crash today, including Daniel Oss on the descent of the San Bernardino.
Yeah, Greg van Avermaet has done great work for Team BMC, and Damiano Caruso will just roll in as best he can, save it for another day. Solid shift by the BMC man. Kaczmarek, I wonder how much longer he can sustain it for teams CSC. And this climb goes up in steps, so the gradient does ease a little and allows riders to get back in, but Kaczmarek will be getting that encouragement from his team car. They'll be saying, well, look, if you can survive for a little while longer, it'll ease a bit, you can get back in, and you never know, you might recover a little bit, but often it's difficult now. A CCC rider with considerably more reason to fight on at this moment is Jan Hert. He's in front of the peloton at the moment, and stretching on. Theo Geoghegan Hart is pressing on, and he's got Mamikin, who was in the break earlier on for Team Katusha, with him. Geoghegan Hart looks as if he's lost Philip Duignan at this point as well. No sign of him there.
With the next couple of kilometres, average is between 8 and 9%, so this is another hard part. So Philip Duignan being in the breakaway, obviously done a lot of work there, and was just a little bit spent when the road started to go up a little bit more in gradient.
So the rider in red here is Matyev Mamikin, the 22-year-old Russian, young man, at the outset of his World Tour career. Another young man at the outset of his World Tour career is Theo Geoghegan Hart, proving equal to the challenge at the moment, extending his advantage, if anything, over the peloton behind the main group. Here's Duignan from the group of 10 that formed after 50 kilometers of this stage. Duignan is picked up. Still raining quite heavily here at the finish line. It's raining on that climb. Or that descent even, yeah, the descent as they work their way over the climb. Great effort by Simone Bettilli. Kicked off the attacking from that group of 10, but just wilted by the effort, and he's being collected now by Theo Geoghegan Hart, and Mamikin has settled into his rhythm. These the groups of riders. Verona, Herta's picked them up, and Jan Bakelant's in there. Pressing on from that group is Bart de Klerk, who's clearly on a good day. They're going to try and stay clear for as long as they possibly can. Plenty for Michael Woods to race for, and plenty too for the riders in between, because they're doing a really solid job. And until the attacking starts to kick off from the group of favourites, well, these riders still very much in contention. This is Pedrero from the Movistar squad, Antonio Pedrero, a 25-year-old Spaniard, who's in that group of 10. And now riders are in ones and twos all over this climb.
Yeah, and the staff here at the finish will relay in information that it's actually raining in the other side of the valley on the descent, and I think most of the GC contenders want to try and bring things back before the descent. What you don't want to do is having to chase down this descent and risk anything, but Rusty Woods went very early. Sink is not that far behind, but he's tapping out a really nice rhythm here. Just coming out the Giro d'Italia with some good form, and Michael Woods, the 30-year-old Canadian, 9th in Liège this year, 12th in Pays Basque, 38th in the recent Giro d'Italia, is setting this stage alight for the moment.
And Theo Geoghegan-Hart is extending his advantage over the group behind us now up to, what, 34 seconds? He's put about 10 seconds into them in the last kilometre or so. So he's, since Caruso lost a couple of riders, I think maybe he's started to lose a little bit of distance now. How much of a threat is Theo Geoghegan-Hart? How much of a worry?
Well, he's 138 down, so he isn't. Caruso is probably not too worried about him. You can't go chasing shadows when you're in the yellow jersey, and I know Geoghegan-Hart isn't a shadow, but you know, quality bike rider. But at the end of the day, he's allowed them. You can't just chase Theo and chase other riders that are around 8th, 9th, 10th, maybe just outside the top 10. He'll waste energy, so he's just using up his team. He's sitting within for the danger riders. I think the danger rider in the front is sitting at maybe 1 minute to Bacalan's, but he knows Caruso knows that he's got him under control. Theo, they've got him under control at this moment in time, so it's left up to only one rider now from Caruso's team at the front, and then it will be down to himself.
Well, is that TJ Van Garderen? Well, we'll see whether he's managed to maintain the tempo on behalf of Damiano Caruso.
But there must be other riders thinking of attacking the yellow jersey. When you see riders like Greg Van Avermaet, Schär, and all these BMC riders starting to get dropped, and they're only left with TJ Van Garderen. And TJ Van Garderen helped out Caruso the other day, but queuing up behind, you see Pozzovivo there, Matthias Frank, Kruijswijk, even Rui Costa. They have to try and do something in this climb, and I think they'll wait a little bit until TJ has done a long turn at the front, and then we'll start to see some more attacking.
When's it going to come? The advantage extends for Michael Woods. This goes up in a series of ramps, this relentless climb of the Albula Pass. It's its 13th appearance in this race. Last time it was Rui Costa back in 2013 that took the victory into La Punt on the way to the second of his 3 overall successes in Tour de Suisse. Rui Costa still in that group of favourites behind. United Arab Emirates with plenty to push for, 2 riders in the top 10. Time for a few picks. Not too many in there now, are there?
Oh, just look at what's happened here. TJ Van Garderen looks as if he's gone. So the yellow jersey is there pretty much on his own. Kruijswijk is on the left-hand side. They're all bunching up. Nobody wants to take it on this early in the climb. So Caruso has been pretty much left to his own devices now. Bilbao comes from the back and decides, I'm not going to hang around here. Morabito tries to do something for Français de Jeu. So there's no organised chase now. As we speculated at the bottom of this climb, having only 2 minutes, there was still an opportunity for some of the breakaway riders to make it to the finish. This is looking really good for Michael Woods, but just as we say that, an attack on the corner here from Caruso, the yellow jersey.
Caruso, the yellow jersey, goes on the attack. Is the best form of defence. Soler has covered that one, but what has that put? As the cat amongst the pigeons, you might say. Pozzovivo immediately responds as well. The AG Tour Le Mondial man is up to it. His teammate Matthias Frank is closing up, but rather slower. He's just closing the gap steadily, but it's Caruso that finds himself without teammates. Is this the right tactic?
The best defence is attack, as they say, and he's distanced a few riders. Spilak struggling a little bit. Here we see it again. There was a lull in the action. yellow jersey, you have to take it on. Decided, well, I'm not going to wait around and be attacked. Give the opportunity for riders to recover a little bit and hit them where it hurts, and on one of the steepest parts of this climb.
You know, those a punch to the solar plexus for a lot of those riders, but they've managed to recover. How many more times can they respond to those sort of attacks? How many more times will Caruso be minded to? Or now will we see that it kicks off? Is it Nieva that's going to have a little go for Team Sky? As Caruso's not going to cover this one just yet. Soler it is that's going to have to cover it. Pozzovivo sits in the wheel of the yellow jersey. Caruso. Matthias Frank still well to the fore. Jan Hert suffering.
I don't think he's suffering that much.
Well,
he's coming up to sink. He's been like a bit of a diesel at the moment. He started this race. He lost a little bit of time. He's picked off rider one by one, and he's now up to second place with Sink. So he's only got Rusty Woods in front of him. So the form he's had, he just did a little word there with Sink. Two Czech riders now talking the same language and trying to help each other out. But 49 seconds behind the Canadian Woods.
Steve Morabito here at the back of the group, and they're being distanced, and one wonders whether it looks like Conti as well, Valerio Conti, who is well placed. Morabito naturally subject of the cameras. These riders trying to close that one back and get back into contention. Where's the next attack coming from? It's coming from Astana. It's Bilbao.
Yeah, Bilbao has decided to keep it going. He was kind of suffering a little bit at the back of this group, but he's not going to wait. So any opportunity they're easing up, he's straight on the attack. But another attack from looks like Bahrain Merida. It's from Johan Ezegiri trying to come up. Conti tries to go with him for UAE. So it's all action, no control, but certainly all action.
Well, Group 2 on the road, 47 seconds down. That is Jan Hert and Andrei Sink. Hert from the CCC Sprandi Polkovica squad, who's come up and raced across the gap, and now the attack's coming. Soler tries to ambush Caruso. Caruso looking over his right shoulder when the man from Movistar, the Spaniard, Caruso immediately responds. He's on great day, isn't he? He's managing to cover just about anything. They quickly close up to Peu Bilbao. Still torrential rain here at the finish line, and they're going to be greeted by that when they come to the over the top of the climb. Pedrero from the early break is picked up. Soler is the man that he'll look after. And now they're just closing up to the other group from the early break, the Bacalance group, we're going to call it. Bart de Klerk in there as well. These riders about to be mopped up by the charging group of favourites. Still 141 down on an absolutely flying Michael Woods. We've got to pay due credit to the rider out front, because he is on a superb day, the Canadian rider. We haven't seen too much of him lately because, well, it's all starting to happen in the GC riding group. Just over 16 kilometers remaining. That's 10 miles in old money of Tour de Suisse 2017. And the group of favourites now finding themselves just over a minute and a half behind Michael Woods. Raced out of an early break of 10 riders, which never had much more than 2 minutes. And now Caruso finds himself being chased down. A bit of a surprise. Seeing more attacks from Pedrero from the early break. He was chased, caught, set the tempo on the front, and now goes on the attack again.
Yeah, Bilbao coming. It's just the stop-start. There's no control in the group behind. I was just about to say earlier on, about a kilometre to go, on these easier parts, this is the perfect opportunity. When the yellow jersey is isolated, this is the perfect opportunity for AG2R, especially Matthias Frank, to try and go on the attack. You have to try and chase that yellow jersey, let him do a little bit of work. While this is happening at the moment, we're getting further up this climb. There's 7 kilometres or less than 7 kilometres to go to the top, and we're still waiting for the attacks to come from some of the GC riders, because it is raining in the
and here it comes. Pardon me, Brian. That was coming. You could sense it, couldn't you, from Soler, as attacking was Pedrero off the front of the bunch. Soler has Pedrero for company, so that was a little softener upper, and he had the little bit of an advantage, and he said Pedrero is going to use what he has left to try and propel Marc Soler into a position to hold off this jersey all the way to the line. Well, it's a long way to go at the moment, still a long way to go to the summit of this climb. Remember, it's just over 9 kilometers remaining in the stage when we hit the summit of this climb.
Yeah, Nieve starting to go off the front of this peloton as well. He's thinking more of the stage. Everybody knows once we come to this summit, which comes with 9.3 to go, there'll be no changes in the descent because nobody will take any chances at all in this wet descent. It is a fairly tricky descent, so everybody knows that. So the information will get to these riders, and they know that they have to. If they want to win this stage, especially Nieve from Team Sky, if he wants to win this stage, he has to close this minute 20 seconds to Michael Woods within the next 5 kilometres.
Still torrential rain at the finish line as Michael Woods starts to press on towards the summit. Now within the final 4 kilometres of the pain and suffering. Starting to tap out a steady rhythm on one of these flatter sections. Meanwhile, the group behind, 49 seconds behind. Andrei Sink in the red of Bahrain Merida and the orange of CCC Sprandi Polkovica, represented by his fellow Czech, Jan Hirt. They're working well together, and it's the kind of climb where you can actually work as a group.
Yeah, it goes up in fits and starts. The Cannondale car just getting past. It's taken a while, and it'll go up to Michael Woods as we start to pan back to see any other action at the head of the yellow jersey group. The yellow jersey group has now been exposed, and he's just hoping that he can contain the other GC contenders, but I think everybody's just hoping that everybody gets down this descent safely, because it is fairly heavy rain at the finish here in the valley, and when we go over the top of the climb, these riders will have to deal with a very treacherous descent.
Tough to bet against Michael Woods at the moment, but Jan Hirt has pressed on. Andrei Sink, as the gradient starts to creep upwards again, has been found wanting. He's wilting after quite a long sustained period in the breakaway group. Young man came out of the Giro d'Italia in fine form, but so too, of course, did Jan Hirt, comfortably inside the top 20. And Hirt has pressed on inside 49 seconds now. Is there any way he can get back up to Michael Woods and contend for stage victory? Attacks coming from the yellow jersey group. Is this Nieve?
Yeah, well, Posavivo has gone on the attack, but the two Spanish riders, Nieve and Jon Izagirre, and just see the yellow jersey reacting to it. He doesn't want Izagirre to go down the roads, but Kruijswijk, we're still waiting for some action from him. But we know that Posavivo, out of our camera shots, has tried as well.
Well, Bakelants is working hard to try and get himself back into position. Bart de Klerk as well, been distanced by all that recent effort. It's Jon Izagirre, finished second overall in this race 12 months ago. A little disappointed, I think, with how things worked out a couple of days ago to Villar, but still very much a contender. And Izagirre presses on. Caruso covers. Kruijswijk's in the wheel, and a little bit of daylight back to Mikel Nieve. Pozzovivo's going to have to roll around the front of him, Willie. Nieve closes that one up. Riders starting to suffer. Soler finding himself after these attacking efforts, having to make big efforts to get back up. Matthias Frank is part of that little chase group.
Nieve's just waiting to attack again. I don't think Caruso looks strong. Caruso, I'm not sure why he was chasing Jon Izagirre, because Jon Izagirre has already lost a considerable amount of time. He's 4 minutes and 2 seconds down, but Kruijswijk is starting to go now, and that's a danger, man. That's the one you have to shut down. Posavivo also up there towards the front, but I tell you what, the yellow jersey not allowing Jon Izagirre to go far down the road.
Next attack comes from the aforementioned Jon Izagirre from Bahrain Merida. His fellow countryman Mikel Nieve could only watch and admire as Izagirre went on the attack. Gets a little bit of daylight this time. Is this one that will...
You just see the yellow jersey again reacting to Jon Izagirre, and he must be on a very good day. He's shutting a lot of things down, and to shut a rider down that's 4 minutes down. I know there's another day tomorrow and a time trial, and he's a very good time trialist, and probably Caruso was thinking, well, he doesn't want Jon Izagirre to get anywhere near him, and because he's very capable of bringing back maybe a couple of minutes in the time trial, so that's why he's looking at Jon Izagirre as a potential danger, although he is sitting at 20th place at 4:02.
The gap's starting to shrink now, so Michael Woods has 1 minute and 14 seconds on that hard attacking yellow jersey group. And Jan Hirt behind is about to be mopped up.
Yeah, it looks as if he is, because they've got Sink and the riders that have been distanced, Spilak, Matthias Frank, Bilbao trying to come back, so these riders really starting to suffer a little bit, but not many people left in the yellow jersey group now.
Well, Simon Spilak looked in absolutely flying form 2 days ago into Villar, led out the sprint for second place, and had covered so many attacks on the mountain, and threw in a couple of his own as well, more than a couple. Simon Spilak looked like he might be back on the form that delivered him overall success in this race 2 years ago, but Spilak now perhaps not on quite such a good day, and he's having to ride back onto the wheel of this group, led now by Damiano Caruso. Tries to go on the front and set a tempo. Kruijswijk finds himself pushed in against the verge. Soler still in position.
Naeve desperate. He's desperate to get away because he's not an overall contender. He looks around. Matthias Frank has come back. Spilak has come back, so they know that there's not an overall contender there, and he's trying to win the stage, but Rusty Woods still hanging on.
Inside 1 minute is the advantage of Michael Woods as the jockeying for position in amongst the yellow jersey group continues, and there's nothing in between them and the success on the stage, but looking very good for Michael Woods at the moment. We've got that treacherous descent in very wet conditions, still very wet here at the finish line at the moment in La Punt as we climb up the final climb, the Albula Pass, on this 6th stage of Tour de Suisse. Still there's plenty of riders managing to ride them back up into this group. Patrick Conrad of the Bora Hansgrohe squad has managed to get back in, 12th overall, 1 minute and 41 seconds down. He'll be a relieved man. A little bit of a phony war at the moment. Bit of a ceasefire as Caruso, who's actually thrown in a few attacks of his own, just rolls back into 4th position and waits to see where the next attack is coming from. Bilbao.
Well, just running through the top 10 at the moment. Caruso, Kruijswijk, Posavivo, Spilak, Soler, Frank, Naeve, Costa, Conti and Theo Gegenhardt, with Bilbao and Conrad in 11th and 12th. So it looks as if Theo Gegenhardt is possibly losing a little bit of time now, but all the top contenders all a bit of stalemate together, which means I think that it looks very good for Michael Woods to take a victory here today.
Looking good for Woods, looking a little bit better for Jan Hirt. It looked just a few moments ago as if he was going to be mopped up by that yellow jersey group, but just that little stall there, they're having a little look around, and that's good news for Michael Woods. Good news too for Jan Hirt in his efforts to pursue Woods solo and also perhaps hang on for second on the stage. I think that could well be his best chance at the moment if Michael Woods can get through the remaining moments of this climb. He's within the final 2 kilometers to the summit. There are some difficult moments on it, but some relatively easy gradients as well. Here comes Kruijswijk. Kruijswijk attacks. The man sitting 2nd overall, and he's been waiting for this. We haven't seen too much activity from Kruijswijk. He's been covering them, and Caruso doesn't cover it quite as quick this time.
No, it doesn't react at all. He was reacting to all the other attacks. It's Jon Izagirre that decides to go for it now. So yeah, all the GC contenders, the top 10 are pretty much all here apart from Theo Gegenhardt, but a big acceleration from Kruijswijk. But just look at Jon Izagirre, Posavivo and Caruso very much up to this task.
So Caruso that time leaving it up to Izagirre to close it down, and he does it with relative facility, although we're a couple of matches burnt, and that effort has closed them up to Jan Hirt. So Hirt here sitting 2nd on the stage is caught by Stefan Kruijswijk. Jon Izagirre, Domenico Pozzovivo, Damiano Caruso, the overall leader. Here comes Rui Costa, Soler, Matthias Frank, Theo Bilbao released from looking after Miguel Angel Lopez, the last year's winner who had to retire yesterday. Mikel Nieve still very much in there. Pozzovivo attacks the diminutive Italian climber, tries one of his own. Kruijswijk's equal to the challenge, just didn't have the punch required.
As we get further up this climb, now we're starting to see some a little bit of desperation now attacks from the main GC contenders, but Caruso's up for it for this moment in time. Rui Costa trying to come across here, but Caruso honouring that jersey and you know, matching all these other GC contenders punch for punch at the moment.
Well, 1,500 metres to go. The gradient lifts up to just over 13%. It's almost at its most difficult. And the last half kilometre of this climb is at over 10%. So that offers opportunities for a rider like Pozzovivo, who really comes into his own when the gradient stretches into double figures. And that's, I think, those are the sections that he looks for. Pozzovivo now ahead of Kruijswijk. Jan Izagir showing the pain on his face. So too is Damiano Caruso. I think he's starting to suffer a little bit.
Well, he's still there. He's matched everything. Maybe made some too many efforts early on in this climb, but we're not over with this attacking. Remember, we've still got 3 kilometres to go to the top of this climb.
Yeah, a long way to go before they crest the rise. Those are the opportunities for these riders when the gradient stretches up. Pello Bilbao finding that little winch up a little bit beyond him, but he'll try and chase back into contention. Nieve too finds that there's a little bit of daylight between himself and Matthias Frank in the red jersey of Best Swiss. Bilbao, his body language betraying the effort that he's putting into the pedals at the moment.
Well, he knows he has to keep on going because he's putting time into Theo Gegenhardt to try and pop into the top 10, and that's worth the effort, and he's trying to kind of hang on to the riders in front. But it's Pozzovivo again attacking towards the top of this climb. Kruijswijk doesn't react. The yellow jersey just sitting behind him, and I think for Kruijswijk he just has to move over, allow the yellow jersey to see if he can shut this down, and maybe try and go across to Pozzovivo on his own.
Well, typical moments for Michael Woods, because he's still got a little bit to go before he comes to the top of this climb, and the gap is down to 40 seconds. That period of sustained attacking from the yellow jersey group has put a little bit of pressure on Michael Woods here.
It has, but he just has to do what Larry Warbasse did a few days ago and just set his own tempo. He has gone early in this climb, but he just has to ride his own tempo. Hopefully, even if he tops this climb with about 20-30 seconds, I still think that should be enough.
So Caruso now on the front and trying to control the affairs. He's, of course, he can't see where the next attack is coming from. So what's the tactic? How is he playing it here?
Well, Caruso has to come to the front, has to commit himself. He cannot allow Pozzovivo any distance whatsoever. The gap is growing ever so slightly. But Kruijswijk is the other big danger, because if Caruso goes to the front and sets a tempo, then we see a situation where Kruijswijk can counter-attack and possibly pop over to Pozzovivo and combine together.
8 seconds advantage for Domenico Pozzovivo is the indicated lead for this little Italian rider with the French AG Tour Mondial squad, who's settling into a fairly steady rhythm. Does like to ride, relatively speaking, big gears on the climbs, doesn't he? Well, Kruijswijk now has come to the front and is assisting Damiano Caruso. And that's interesting, isn't it, that Kruijswijk has decided to assist?
Well, that's what I was just saying, a little bit, allow Caruso just to nod the head, I'm not riding, and try and attack himself to go across to Pozzovivo. But it does look as if first and second do not want, they're doing their own combination, they do not want Pozzovivo to go down the road and take any time.
Caruso having to do so much of this work, and well, the tempo they're setting has actually allowed Pello Bilbao to get back into it. He's peddling squares at the moment, but he's going to try and survive for as long as he can. The Astana man at the back here, a couple of bike lengths behind Soler, the Movistar squad, Frank of AG Tour Mondial, McKellen, Nieve of Team Sky. Meanwhile, up front, Michael Woods ploughs on to glory. Will it be glory? Put a little bit of time now into the yellow jersey group, but if anything, Pozzovivo's getting closer now, inside a half a minute. And still got a couple of kilometres before he gets to the top of this climb.
Yeah, that's the problem. Pozzovivo on the attack, and he's slowly eating into the advantage of Woods. And if the yellow jersey was able to catch Pozzovivo, then they would slow up and start looking at each other, which would help Michael Woods to go on the descent and take this victory. But it's getting a little bit touch and go now. He just has to set his own tempo. But it does look as if the two yellow jerseys at the front, one the leader of the race in the BMC, Caruso, and Kruijswijk in second place, are combining together to try and block Pozzovivo from taking any time. But Rui Costa is just behind as well, and if Rui Costa, if this does come together and he does take maybe some risk in the descent, then Rui Costa is still an opportunity here.
Yeah, Rui Costa gets the little bit of encouragement from Stefan Kruijswijk. He wants to drop back now, and he's done a little bit of work for Caruso. So it's a delicate balancing act, isn't it? Because 18 seconds advantage indeed made that 22 seconds advantage now for Domenico Pozzovivo. Remember, start of the day, just 25 seconds down there. Bonus seconds on the line as well. Woods is pushing hard through to the top of the climb. And he now has just 20 seconds on Domenico Pozzovivo. Pozzovivo in turn 22 seconds to the yellow jersey group behind, and Caruso's having to do so much of this on his own. Remember, Domenico Pozzovivo 25 seconds down on Caruso. Starting the day, has every chance of emerging with the yellow jersey today, should he hang on to second position. Remember, there's bonus seconds on the line of 10, 6 and 4 seconds to the first three that crossed the line in La Punt. I tell you that the rain is still falling, the crowd waiting here patiently, umbrellas raised. Difficult weather conditions await on the other side of this mountain. Just over 10 kilometers remaining on stage 6 of Tour de Suisse, and it's well, down to 15 seconds the lead for Michael Woods. 2 minutes and 15 seconds his maximum lead when he was among a group of 10, and he raced on out of that group. All of his erstwhile breakaway companions have been caught by the group of favourites and left to their own devices down this Al Bula Place climb. And look at this, it's Domenico Pozzovivo sitting third overall, has attacked the yellow jersey. Damiano Caruso is now within touching distance of the lead on the stage, and also is the leader on the road, because he's got 30 seconds advantage and has 5 second advantage in the virtual classification on Damiano Caruso. So Domenico Pozzovivo could well be racing into yellow, but he's got a long way to go to confirm this, a treacherous descent. Now the attacks are starting to come. This Spilak has tried his luck. No, it's Kamishev, Armin Kamishev, the Katusha rider.
No,
It is Spilak. Yeah.
Spilak's been dropped from the major contenders group. He's now coming back to the yellow jersey group with 500 metres to go. So we still have an opportunity for Michael Woods. It's not over for him, because if Pozzovivo looks as if he's going to get up to them, the two of them will have about 30 seconds. Then if they ride down the descent, which they will, because Pozzovivo chasing that 25 seconds he needs. You've got to remember 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line. So Pozzovivo will ride for the general classification, so it's not over for Woods at the moment. If he can stay with Pozzovivo, which I think he will in this descent, then there's an opportunity that Michael Woods could still win this stage for Cannondale.
Well inside the last 500 metres to the top of the hill, and Woods has to bury himself. It seems almost inevitable he's going to be caught by Domenico Pozzovivo, but he desperately needs to not be caught too far from the summit of this climb. He doesn't really need to be having to close a gap when they're on the descent. And just what has Domenico Pozzovivo got in terms of descending skills to try and keep themselves clear? Well, he's going to take maximum points on the top of the climb, and that's a significant haul of points gained by Michael Woods. Not relevant though, because he's just caught at the summit by Domenico Pozzovivo, second across the summit of the Al Bula Pass. And where are the group behind? 41 seconds is what the GPS is telling us to Damiano Caruso and his breakaway and his main GC favourites group. The clock ticks for them as they start their way into the descent. And Woods is going to leave it all up to Pozzovivo, going to try and recover as best he can.
Yeah, recover, and he'll have to try and help. But Costa comes through now. He realises that he's one of the fastest finishers of the riders that are in front. And if they can bring back Pozzovivo and Woods, then he stands a very good chance of winning the stage here. But I think there's a lot of tired legs in this chasing group, and Pozzovivo, with the company of Woods, can still come down this descent, and Pozzovivo could be taking some time back, and Michael Woods could be repaid for his efforts already today.
Across the finishing climb and now into the descent and heading towards the finish at La Punt on stage 6 of the Tour de Suisse. A 35-second advantage for Domenico Pozzovivo. Started the day 25 seconds in arrears. He's got a 10-second advantage heading to the line with Michael Woods, who's been out front much of the afternoon. From the early breakaway, the Canadian rider suffering his way to the top of the climb and only caught right at the summit. Woods will be a relieved man for that. How much strength has he got in those legs? Pozzovivo needs what Woods can give him. Woods needs too for Pozzovivo to ride it to the line. They have different agendas here. Pozzovivo is racing for overall general classification. Michael Woods, the stage win would do him if he could possibly hang on for a maiden World Tour success. Pozzovivo driving on as best he can. What sort of watts is he going to be able to generate on this plateau before the descent starts proper?
Well, Pozzovivo giving it his all at the moment. No kind of respite behind. The yellow jersey is committed to doing the chasing, and Matthias Frank just sitting there in second place. He knows that Pozzovivo is in front, and this is a very good tactic now with Matthias Frank placing the efforts of the yellow jersey.
Well, Kruijswijk looked as if he was just moving to the front as Spelac tries to get back into contention and finds that what's been a tough stage for him, distanced on that climb, but Spelac hasn't given up fighting, and Spelac looks as if he's going to be able to make the junction. Will he manage to make it in time? And just when is this rain going to appear for the riders? I can tell you, still very much in evidence here at the finish at Le Punt, on the bottom of this finishing climb. Within 8 kilometers to go, there's confirmation of the points. Woods manages to hang on just as Pozzovivo catches him. Rui Costa led the yellow jersey group over the top of the climb, ahead of Caruso. Those of little value or importance to the yellow jersey group. Now Woods starts to assist, and he will be of assistance to Pozzovivo on this descent.
Yeah, of course, the two of them have got every reason to combine together. We're starting to see some of the wet roads. It's not raining at the top of the climb, it's still raining a little bit in the valley, so they can't take any risk whatsoever. But yeah, it's down to Caruso in the yellow jersey, and I think he'll get some help from Kruijswijk, but Spelac yo-yoing a little bit, trying to come back to the yellow jersey group. Only 23 seconds down, 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line, and Pozzovivo started 25 seconds off the lead of Caruso.
Yeah, revised advantage there indicated, so quite quickly it came down from 35 seconds down to 23, so Caruso's back in the virtual lead, in reality and in the virtual sense, and Spelac just managing to get there. And it's a bit of a time trial at the moment for Simon Spelac. He's a pretty good time trialist. We've seen him score an overall success courtesy of a final day time trial, resisting the challenge of Geraint Thomas a couple of years ago, and Spelac has closed up. Pozzovivo, well, he's got the assistance of Michael Woods ahead, but Michael Woods must be a very tired rider now. Just how much combined strength of those two riders got. It's a relief for Spelac. He's got in there, and he will live to fight another day.
Yes, and Kruijswijk comes to the front. Costa willing to ride as well, so with the yellow jersey, so it does look as if 3 against 2, but you know, who's going to win? We'll have to wait. They can't take any risks in this descent. Spelac for the first time just zips up his jersey. He's had a moment to be able to do that, but Kruijswijk, Caruso and Rui Costa combining to try and bring Pozzovivo and Woods back, but it's going to be very difficult. I know it's only 24 seconds, but it's a wet descent, and you don't want to take any risks at all.
It's a wet descent, certainly, as they chase down Domenico Pozzovivo and Michael Woods ahead. Quick reminder of the overall general classification standings, with Caruso in yellow, 16 seconds ahead of Stefan Kruijswijk, is with him in the chase group. Domenico Pozzovivo 25 seconds back. Simon Spelac, who's just made the junction with the group, who finds himself also 25 seconds down starting today, and still very much there. And Pozzovivo charging on. Woods not enjoying these wet weather conditions.
No, and a little surprised at this. Woods has to stay a lot closer to Pozzovivo if he wants to try and win this stage. But as we see, we get on to a bit more of the trickier part of this descent, and it's like this the whole way down. But tell you what, Michael Woods does not look comfortable in this descent one bit. Yeah,
much tighter line taken by Domenico Pozzovivo as Woods runs around the outside of the turn, and Pozzovivo, I remember seeing him in.
Tell you what, Rui Costa is on the front, and that's a rider that can descend and may take some risks, and he could come back to the two riders in front.
So a difficult moment for Michael Woods, still very much at the outset of his World Tour career. Remember, his experience at top-level bike racing is relatively scant, and these are difficult conditions, and you've got to know exactly what you've got. He's got a very low centre of gravity, Domenico Pozzovivo.
Jon Izagirre's gone with Rui Costa now, so 2 riders, and the yellow jersey and even Kreuzweg have to be attentive here, because gaps will happen in this very dangerous descent now.
So Woods is watching the diminutive vigour of Domenico Pozzovivo disappearing in the distance, and they get the indication that this is a difficult hairpin. The left-hander into the right-hander, shift of weight across the bike. And those white lines are to be avoided, aren't they? And the roads are slick. I tell you what, the roads are really impressive throughout Switzerland. Beautifully maintained. Great roads for racing in general. But, well, under these 25mm contact patches, there's not a whole lot of rubber on the road, and Michael Woods is going to find it difficult to hold off Rui Costa at this rate.
I think he's losing this stage now in this descent. Okay, you have to be there to be able to do it, but Jon Izagirre and also Costa are coming up very quickly in this descent now, and we're starting to see reaction from, is that Matthias Frank trying to go across now. The yellow jersey has been a little bit distant, but after all that hard effort in the incline, it looks as if Michael Woods is losing a potential stage win here in the descent.
So long out front, now he finds himself as the lone chaser, but for how much longer will he be in front of the chase group behind, led by, well, Matthias Frank is there, we believe Rui Costa as well. 20 seconds from Domenico Pozzovivo and the yellow jersey behind at the moment. That will be enough to put him into the yellow jersey. He needs all the time he can get ahead of the final day time trial. Peo Bilbao tiptoeing his way through these hairpins. Anxious moments. Inside the final 3 kilometers, indeed the last 2,300 meters for Domenico Pozzovivo. 6 seconds to the good ahead of Michael Woods. Can Woods summon the strength? Here comes Izagirre, Rui Costa, Matthias Frank. Spilak has got himself up after being out of contention close to the top of the climb. Caruso finds himself a little bit distanced, and this descent is playing a role.
Yeah, it definitely is, and riders are now being distanced now inside the last 2 kilometres. Pozzovivo does look as if he's still got enough to hang on to the stage win, but Rui Costa and Jon Izagirre, remember in the time trial last year, Jon Izagirre doing in excess of 110 kilometres an hour. This is what's somewhat different in the wet conditions here. So 2 kilometres to go for these riders, but Pozzovivo still on his own with a mere 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's 1,700 metres indeed. 1,600 metres to go for Domenico Pozzovivo. Raced across the top of the final climb with Michael Woods. Distanced him somewhat surprisingly. The Canadian now finding him difficult to stay with. Oh, it's a disappointing end to what's been a great stage for the Cannondale Drapac riders. Jon Izagirre presses on to try and stay with the other riders, and trying to get back on terms with Domenico Pozzovivo. 11 seconds between Pozzovivo and the group behind, including Damiano Caruso, and that would not be enough to propel Domenico Pozzovivo into yellow. He goes under the kite. 1,000 metres remaining for the Italian rider from AG Tour Le Mondial. It would be a famous victory in the World Tour stage race Tour de Suisse for the man from Italy, and he would propel himself very much into general classification contention with another big mountain stage to come tomorrow. Domenico Pozzovivo will be thinking of 2 things. He'll be thinking of the overall general classification and his opportunities. He'll also be thinking of stage honours, and he'll pile it all the way to the line. But will he be gone? Izagirre is coming. Rui Costa too. Matthias Frank is there. So AG Tour Le Mondial with 2 opportunities. 400 metres remaining. There's no time to delay here. It looks like Pozzovivo, with 2 turns to make, has every chance of hanging on, because Rui Costa throttles back a little bit and into the finishing boards. Just 1 turn to make for Domenico Pozzovivo. He's safely into the home straight with 150 metres remaining. He's going to get stage honours. He's going to hang on to take bonus seconds and a little bit of daylight between himself and Caruso. But Domenico Pozzovivo, as Rui Costa starts the sprint behind, he gets his hand in the air. He wins stage 6 of Tour de Suisse, and Rui Costa is going to hang on for second ahead of the photo finish between Izagirre and Matthias Frank. And chasing behind, Spilak just comes in ahead of Kreuzweg, and Damiano Caruso has limited the damage but has lost some seconds today. And that was a treacherous finishing climb. Bilbao finishes, Soler finishes, and a somewhat disconsolate Michael Woods has been distanced at the end of what was a great stage for him. But it's Pozzovivo that gets stage honours, takes stage 6 of Tour de Suisse. And the first man to congratulate him is Matthias Frank, almost within touching distance of his teammate at the conclusion there. But what a stage victory by Pozzovivo. He took it on, he went on the attack, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, with the winner, and by my reckoning, he only misses out by the yellow jersey by about 1 second, so it couldn't be any closer. But treacherous conditions in the end for everybody. It happened all in the descent. I really feel sorry for Michael Woods, who put a big effort in today, but unfortunately wasn't able to hold the wheel of Pozzovivo, because I believe if he'd have managed to do that, he would have won this stage today, but he didn't descend well and lost out on the opportunity. But Pozzovivo takes the honours and comes very close to taking that yellow jersey.
Well, they're already heading back to the team buses as quickly as they possibly can, as the riders from the early break and other riders who were distanced on that finishing climb have managed their way, and the rains have really come down in torrents. They timed it for the arrival of the riders. Conti here comes through to finish. Rui Costa just missing out on stage honours, but he's very much back, isn't he? Very much back into contention. Rui Costa, a man not to be ruled out for a 4th victory. His teammate Rui Costa going in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, Domenico Pozzovivo will be taken for the finishing ceremonies, because he's come up with that stage victory. Has he missed out on stage honor, on overall general classification? I don't think there's much between them.
No, across the finishing line, we noticed that he was, according to our own clock at the side, he crossed the line with about 14-15 seconds. So we'll have to wait for confirmation on this. We're getting provisional, but we'll have to wait for confirmation. 10, 6 and 4 on this. Pozzovivo comes up the finishing line, takes the honours of the stage, takes the 10 seconds. But the clock was moving at the front, and it finished on about 14-15 seconds. So if it is 15 seconds, it could go to fractions of a second. So we'll just wait on confirmation on who definitely has the yellow jersey in this year's Tour de Suisse. But what I can say is fantastic finish, and nothing between the top 5 or 6 riders now.
Well, he took a stage of Giro d'Italia all the way back in 2012, and GC in Trentino on that occasion as well that year. He's won stage of Volta Catalunya since then in 2015. 3 stages of Trentino in his career. 34 years of age now, Domenico Pozzovivo, and he gets a first stage victory in Tour de Suisse. I tell you, there's confirmation, certainly, of the finishing order at the conclusion of stage 6 of Tour de Suisse. La Carnotilla Punt goes the way of Domenico Pozzovivo ahead of Rui Costa, Jonas Aguirre, Matthias Frank sprinting it out for second. Simon Spilak, what a great recovery from the Slovenian rider, just ahead of Stefan Kruijswijk. And the yellow jersey, Damiano Caruso, has to wait anxiously to find out if he's still got that jersey. Great recovery too from Pello Bilbao, who gets in for a top 8 finish. Well, Pozzovivo has the long wait. These aren't exactly ideal conditions, and look at what that's done for him. Well, there we're getting it. The provisional now, I assure you, these are the provisional standings on general classification. Domenico Pozzovivo has claimed the yellow jersey by the narrowest of margin. It's countback. It's Caruso level on time. Stefan Kruijswijk now sitting 13 seconds back and still very much in contention. Spilak now is in 4th position, just 22 seconds in arrears. Matthias Frank still very much in contention at 23 seconds. Marc Soler at 35. And there's somewhat drenched Domenico Pozzovivo, and Rui Costa just getting the better of Jonas Aguirre and Matthias Frank. Great day out for AG Tour Le Mondial. They've got 1st and 4th in the World Tour stage race. Frank quite equal to the task of scoring a stage victory, but he's miles clear in the best Swiss rider competition, isn't he? still very much in overall contention. Caruso limited the damage today, was very, very frisky in the early stages of that climb of the Albula Pass, the second big climb of the day, but perhaps found it a little bit tougher towards the top. And Woods, well, what an effort, and such disappointment, but I think he can be proud of a brave, brave effort, and it's still a very strong finish in a World Tour stage race.
Gesamte Tour.